I'm now joined by Dustin Poirier, who's at the Poirier Mansion in Las Vegas. I can hear the table tennis in the background. I saw you and Mike Brown school Daya Davis and Sabah Homasi. So whoever's playing right now, they're lucky you're not in there.
Yeah, they got a battle going on over there, man. It's been a few days of straight ping pong, so my skills are getting up there. I'm getting better every day at ping pong.
All right, so we've spoken in the past about how you like to focus on things that are inside the box and not focus on things that are outside the box when it comes to this fight. So I'm going to try to keep things inside the box. And I want to start off with the first fight. You had never fought somebody prior to this for a second time that you had lost to. I guess had a rematch to somebody that had beaten you in the past. When you're standing across from him for the first time in the rematch, how do you block that out?
I didn't even have to block it out. You're so much in the moment and in the right now when you walk into the octagon that I don't have time to think about the past or think about the first fight. It was just right now, this second, being in the moment. So it wasn't a problem.
Towards the end of the first round, you hit him with a beautiful check hook. You then pointed at him. When you pointed at him, was that to let him know that you had an answer to some of his best weapons, or was it just gamesmanship?
A little bit of gamesmanship, just letting him know that I had his timing, that I'm seeing openings, that I'm in the moment, that I'm aware. You know, I'm not in awe of fighting Conor, of the lights, the cameras, the first fight. You know, just everything is coming together right now.
Your calf kicks were one of your keys to victory. Was that a tool that you knew was going to be effective against him in particular, or was it just an adjustment where you saw it was working, you just kept with it?
Yeah, 100% it was an adjustment. It wasn't a game plan. We always drill them and work them. We know how devastating they are, but it was just something that found a home, and I kept going back to it because it was working so well.
Is it one of those things that people keep talking about, oh, is Conor's going to learn how to check calf kicks and all that? I mean, if he believes calf kicks are the strategy, he's probably not playing the game right, because with Mike Brown as a coach, you guys probably have a brand new game plan going into this thing anyways.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not the type of fighter that really puts a game plan together and sticks to it 100%. We kind of have things that we want to work on if opportunity presents itself, but I go in there to fight. Whatever unfolds, whatever happens, whatever I can dictate, I do. I feel confident in my fighting skills. I'm well-rounded. I can wrestle. I can kickbox. Been doing jiu-jitsu forever. And so whatever opportunity's there, I'm going to take advantage of it.
So if you could sum up the game plan going into the last fight, rather, without giving away anything you have planned for this fight, what worked and what maybe didn't work?
Not being over-aggressive, taking my time, being patient, letting the fight blossom, if you will, letting the fight unfold so I can get a track on his timing, his reaction, things like that. Don't rush. It's a 25-minute fight. Don't rush into anything or put myself in harm's way early. You know, be a smart fighter.
Now, one major difference between the first fight and this past fight was between those fights, you had wars with Gaethje, Alvarez, Hooker, Max Holloway. With the knowledge that you were in really tough situations in all of those fights, and you were able to overcome them, when you have Conor McGregor standing across from you, and he's somebody who we've seen in certain moments like that has faded, does that give you a confidence that you wouldn't have had in that first fight?
I don't look into it too much like that. I definitely gained momentum from trusting myself in those positions. I know when adversity presents itself that I trust myself to stay in the fight, to protect myself, to hopefully not make dumb decisions in the heat of the moment. But other than that, of gaining trust in myself through those fights, I don't think too much into it as what Conor's going to do or where he's going to fold if the fight gets ugly. You know, just show up and fight.
Was there a situation in any of those aforementioned fights where you were like, oh, I'm on the verge of drowning and I need to do something quickly, and you surprised even yourself that you were able to dig that deep?
No, I know I can. More of a gratitude after the fight, looking back at things like that I did it. You know, like if somebody hits me with a good shot, that I didn't immediately try to land the shot back on them and put myself in harm's way to get even with them or to be that type of fighter. And that's just growth in fighting and understanding the dangers that come along with fighting the best guys in the world. You know, one mistake, one wrong decision, and the fight's over. Especially in mixed martial arts, there's so many ways to be finished and to put yourself in a bad position. So just gratitude that all the work's paying off, and that I'm still learning.
How does Conor's power compare to previous opponents? And being at 155 pounds for this last one versus 145 pounds when you were cutting so much weight to make that benchmark back for that first fight, was the power different from the first fight to the second fight? And in comparison to other fighters you fought, how does his power translate at 155 pounds?
Oh, he's definitely a special athlete. He has incredible power and speed and timing. You know, he's a special guy, no doubt about it. But maybe the power was the same. I'm not sure. Maybe my ability to receive shots was better at a higher weight. A lot of things, you know, maybe positioning, you know, where I was when I got hit with the shot. A lot of things, from my outlook in fighting, a lot of things play part in going down when you get hit with the shot. You know, positioning, like I was just saying, all those things.
Do you feel like he's something of a limited fighter? You know, when I look at you and I would compare you to anybody in the UFC, it's going to be a strange comparison, but kind of like Valentina Shevchenko. You're very, very good absolutely everywhere. You're not really necessarily a specialist, but you're just great at everything across the board. Do you feel like Conor is something of a limited fighter?
I think he's obviously has a big advantage in some areas, like his punching power. I'm sure it's been worked on for years, and I'm sure some of it's God gifted. His timing is very good, and I truly believe that he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist, but he's so successful in those areas that he doesn't have to go in there and shoot for a takedown because he believes he's going to finish the fight on the feet, or he doesn't have to play jiu-jitsu because he's so confident in what's been working for him. You know, he's knocked out a bunch of greats, and don't fix it if it's not broken, type of thing. You know, he hurts guys when he lands shots, and he's so good at that. His timing's so good. But I truly believe that he's a well-rounded fighter. He's been fighting for a long time, and he's at a good gym with good people around him. So I would assume he's good everywhere.
Does that make him a bit easier to game plan for? I mean, we see obviously the big left, and if you can absorb that big left, you're doing something right. But then there's that uppercut on the right-hand side, you know, the array of kicks that he throws. And, of course, he does have a great diversity of attack, but does it make him a little bit easier to game plan for, knowing that he's going to use his best weapons?
It makes him a little bit easier to game plan for because I know he's going to kickbox. You know, he's not going to come out there wrestling. So I believe he has the skills and the athletic ability and understanding of wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but he's going to kickbox, you know. So we'll see. We'll find out Saturday night.
So when you're planning for McGregor versus planning for a guy like Khabib, where you know Khabib's wrestling is just, it's almost impossible to stop, no matter who you are. You know, how do you get around that in your mind?
It's like the same thing. Like Khabib can probably box pretty well, but he's so dominant at wrestling, he doesn't have to. Just different fights, different approaches. But like you said, fortunately for me, that I feel comfortable everywhere, wherever the fight goes. So I'm always prepared for those type of things.
Now, going back to the very first fight, you were in your 20s. I believe that when you're between the ages of 20 and 30, there's a lot of ego involved in getting to where you need to be in terms of your career on becoming, you know, the best of the best. But once you hit 30 and you're between 30 and 40, you know, now you're a dad. You've got a lot more to worry about in your mind in terms of rather than just becoming the greatest mixed martial artist, you want to take care of your family and do all of these other things. Do you feel like ego was the thing that kept you from beating him the first time?
Possibly. A lot of things. Reading into the opinions, caring too much what people think or what people are saying. It's kind of took me out of the mental space where I needed to be in the moment for the fight. You know, I was there and I feel like I could have won. I had the skill set, but focusing on in the lead up what really mattered kind of got distorted a little bit just by my mind running crazy. You know, and that's understanding what you can't control and stuff is part of maturing, not as a fighter, but as a person. You know, juggling all these different things going on. The more you do it, the better you're equipped to do it.
At the end of the UFC Countdown show for this particular fight, you said it's going to be the new DP versus the new Conor. Now, we're less than 6 months removed from the first fight, so can you elaborate on why you believe that it's going to be new versions of yourself this time around, and kind of explain your rationale for that?
I think every fight, every time, whether it's the same guys fighting for a second or third time or me fighting someone else, I'm a different fighter every time. Of course, I bring those skills and things that I brought to the previous fights, but I'm also, growing in life and learning things in the gym, trying different things, always evolving. If I'm that same guy, then I've done myself a disservice. I have to be getting better, always.
He's already started with some mental warfare. Now, you're the one who just beat him. So does that carry a lot less weight, knowing that you've come out victorious against him so recently? And are you going to play the game a little bit?
No, I'm not playing the mental warfare game. Saturday night is what matters, and that's all I have control of. I don't get into that stuff anymore. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, F you," I'm going to say F you back. But I'm not planning or thinking about stuff or even reading into what he's saying or what other people are saying. It's the preparation's been done. Camp's over. Now we get to fight Saturday night.
Now, there was a bit of an issue in terms of the donation that he had promised for the, for the last fight. I know that he did end up making a great donation to the Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana, I believe it was, which is what you want to do through the Good Fight Foundation. But does that have any sort of implications on your foundation? I know Jolie works really hard on running the foundation. Him making the donation directly, is there anything that, affects your foundation by him doing that?
No, it's it goes to the kids in the city. The Boys and Girls Club's a great nonprofit that do great things. We've teamed up with them before and helped them in some of their goals. So as long as charity gets the money, that's the win. It's my name. I'm the president of the foundation, the voice of the foundation, but it's not my money. It's the people's money. So as long as it goes to the people, it's a win.
Who's getting the money from the Good Fight Foundation after this fight? I know you're always choosing a very special cause that's dear to you.
Yeah, this time we teamed up with Justin Wren in the Fight for the Forgotten, as well as Manny Pacquiao with the Manny Pacquiao Foundation. Our three nonprofits are teaming up together to go back to Uganda to build housing on land that we had bought for the picnic people in the lead up for the Khabib fight and the post fight. We raised a bunch of money. We built water wells there in Uganda, and we had an overflow of money. We surpassed the goal we set, and with that extra money, we bought them land. And it's a beautiful thing to get to go back and team up with these great guys to build the housing on the land. So I'm excited and proud to be part of this.
I think having folks like yourself and Justin Wren in the sport shines a great light on mixed martial arts. I think there's always been a bit of an educational curve for people to learn about mixed martial artists. And with you guys doing so much to give back, and Conor McGregor as well, I mean, the amount that he gives back to first responders with his whiskey, I just think it shines a really nice light on the sport. So, as somebody who covers the sport, I'd like to thank you for that.
I appreciate it, man. It's an honor to be in a position and have things in order to do those type of things. I don't take those opportunities lightly.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what happens in the cage, I think legacy is more important than that. And I think the three of you, for example, have built a great legacy in that regard. Now, final question for you. The Nate Diaz rematch, have you studied that? Because if you look at what he did in the first fight versus the second fight, he made adjustments, he took things a little bit slower. Have you studied that fight, and do you think he's going to approach it in a similar way?
It's tough to say. I don't get too caught up in those things. Nate's a completely different fighter than I am, and that was years ago. So we'll see. A lot of questions you can't answer until that bell rings, and I'm just looking forward to Saturday night.
Well, as you've said before, a wise man. The truth is what happens in the cage, and we'll find that out in the main event this weekend, UFC 264. Dustin, always appreciate your time, and best of luck this Saturday.
Hey, thanks, man. Enjoy the show.